the state of play of multilateral treaties is currently in a very has been gaining a lot of focus recently primarily because the United States, the country where I come from, the United States has taken a leading role in negotiating two significant multilateral treaties, one with the Pacific and one with Europe. The Pacific, the TPP, has been moving quite quickly, especially this year. We've been able to get most of the ministers of those countries, all the ministers of 12 countries involved, to sign off on the treaty. Obviously, at this point, the next stage is to have the respective Congresses approve the treaties. But that has been moving quickly, and I think will have a significant impact on global trade. And then obviously you have the negotiations with Europe, but that are slower, but will also move forward, we believe, expeditiously, and will also have a significant impact on global trade and create new partnerships. So in the case of the South Atlantic countries, you do have a situation where several of these countries are not directly involved in these negotiations, or they're not, frankly, involved in these negotiations. I think many of these countries, if you look, I will give you focus of South America, they're negotiating trade agreements in the case of Mercosur, the South American, several of the South American countries with Europe, but that has been a very slow process, but it's ongoing. So there are other initiatives in place that are taking place that involve the South Atlantic, primarily South America, with Europe. There probably will be an increased interest in trying to figure out ways, some of these countries, to be plugged into some of these treaties. There are negotiations that are ongoing with the United States and Europe, and the United States and the Pacific. But at this point, those countries have not been actively involved, or have not sought to be actively involved, and they're doing their own type of negotiations. And I focus on Mercosur with Europe, but I think informally there has been interest from them, at least expressed in at least being mindful and paying attention to some of the patterns that are going on with the TPP and the European deal.